We are going to move right on to the abdominal corset, okay? The abdominal corset is the deepest layer of muscle, most intimate to the spine, okay? It's generally the multifidi, which is the deepest spinal extensor that attaches from one transverse process to the next, right along both sides of the spinal column, and your transverse abdominis, right here. All right, so these run parallel, okay, and they wrap around the side waist. It's the deepest of your abdominal muscles, okay. The multifidi and the TA work together to provide segmental stability and stabilize your pelvis onto your rib cage to make your low back strong, okay, while you're generating force and movement with your hips and legs, okay. They're designed to work in synergy because their actions actually oppose one another, okay. So when they both contract, it doesn't create movement. It creates stability of the spine, all right. So it generates proximal stability for distal mobility, okay, so that your extremities are actually stronger. So truly your body is only as strong as your core is, all right, in a healthy body anyways, okay. The abdominals consist of 4 muscles, each with their own action that work together synergistically to create multi-directional stability for the lumbar spine, okay. The 4 muscles, deepest to superficial is the TA, and the fibers run in this direction, wrapping around your waist, your transverse abdominis. Then you have your internal and external obliques, which run in a crisscross manner through the middle of you. These are your torsional muscles that generate rotation, side bending and whatnot, okay, and resist torsional stresses, okay. Then the rectus abdominis is the most popular ab muscle. It's your 6-pack, 8-pack muscle, whatever. That is the most superficial here, okay, so you can see the 6-pack muscle here. The fascia, this is your rectus abdominis right here. This is the fascia as it sits upon it. So this is the most superficial aspect of your torso, right? So you've got skin, subcutaneous fat. We need that for energy production, okay, our fat stores. And then we've got the fascia that lays over the abdominal system. And actually the fascia links up your abdominal system with other parts of your body. Your pecs and your serratus anterior have attachments into the abdominal fascia as well as the abdominals to generate strength and protection along the anterior aspect of your body, okay? And right here, this is a really beautiful picture of the external oblique. Like I said, the striations run in a diagonal manner, that crisscross, okay? So the externals run here, and then you can see this is the next layer down. The internal obliques, the striations run in an opposing fashion to the external obliques. Okay, so if you turn to the right, you're elongating your externals and you're contracting your internals. On the right. On the right. Yeah. You know, there was something in here I put, I don't know where I put it, but it talks about shifting the load, and I might have grazed over it, but it's a really good concept now that Jennifer's brought up the torsion, is that when you take your joints, your facet joints to the end of the range, you know, into a twist, okay, and you're in perfect alignment, you're doing it right, and then you force it, that last ways, it shifts the load-bearing axis anteriorly onto the vertebral discs. Okay, so when you, with the spine, if you force a stretch, whether it be rotation, whether it be flexion, there's a mechanical axis that runs down through your spine of how you're designed to attenuate load. If you force, it generally always puts that axis right into the intervertebral discs. okay? You get, you get that contortion going and whatnot, and you're meant to be respecting the integrity of your spinal structures.
But again,
you have to,
depends on what's appropriate, because Amber knows enough about her own body that she can be moving that energy of extension even when she's in a bind.
Yeah, and I might be a little off kilt, but my brain is scanning inwards going, okay, so turn those abs on. That's my best defense. That's my best stabilization at attenuating those loads coming through the discs. Because when you contract your abdominals and are working to lengthen the paraspinals, you're creating intervertebral space so that you can get that movement. And if I come into flexion a little bit, I know I better be turning my abs on to help. For the as long as you're being reverent and respectful about the maintaining proper alignment as best as you can, given your own limitations, which we all obviously have limitations, and you're working towards doing it properly, you're strengthening into that movement, which may be a vulnerable position of the spine, but you're strengthening your muscles to protect you while you're doing it. So it becomes a very functional activity that can help save you down the line.
As long as the spine is
elongated. Think length. I've got it in there somewhere. Think length. Always.
That's so interesting, because a lot of students have asked me, why do we do so much abdominal work in your class if what we're looking for is extension in the spine? And the answer is we do the work to strengthen the spine, and some of the rectus abdominis is actually to help root the bottom so we can have something
to pull on.
But in general, the longer muscles, they need to be strong in order to just pull back in length. Right? So what we're looking for is that long support, not necessarily that we want the crunches.
Those aren't functional. Nobody does sit-ups anymore.
In order to pull back.
Yeah, exactly. Because the true action of abdominal, it's flexion. That's what the muscle does. Just like spinal extensors, it's extension. But those of us that are a bit more enlightened at applying it to real life see that it's actually just a corset that's meant to generate stability and potentially length through the spine to make space for your support structures that can cause pain and dysfunction.
Keep the freaky twisty on one side?
No, you never go freaky twisty. You never want to do it.
One side, so you know that you're
in the clinic, I tell patients that are restricted on one side to do twice as much on that side than the other side.
That's good teaching. You should do that in your classes too. You hear somebody go, oh, I'm so much higher on this side. You say, well, then next.
Hold it longer.
Do it twice. And skip the other side. So you feel it going into balance.
Because you're always striving for balance, whether it be between the abdominals and the spinal extensors. Surfers, you get spondylolisthesis, spondylosis, because their spinal extensors are so freaking strong from paddling. And the abs, when you're in, and we're going to get to this during the functional app in Cobra, when you extend the spine, your abs just want to blow out. They're the laziest muscle in the human body. They don't work unless you make them work and you turn them on, unless, of course, you do plank. And even in plank, you'll see people blowing out the abs. It's because it's the path of least resistance. Your body will always follow the path of least resistance. That's why yoga is so powerful, is you're training it that that's not the path you want to follow. You want to be on this path with intention and integrity of the joints and really engaging where you should be. So in Cobra, you're not just relaxed in your belly, you're engaging, you're creating that strong base of supports, like Jennifer said, so you can get the length. You have to anchor down to grow up. You have to root down to grow up. Okay?